Happy Friday, motorsports fans, and welcome to NASCAR Chat. This is the live YouTube show where we discuss the latest goings on in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, the MENCS, which is one of the worst acronyms I've ever heard. But my name is David Whitlock, down here in Houston, Texas. I'm pleased to have two co-hosts with me today. First of all, we welcome back Kells from Pennsylvania. It's great to have you back. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm glad to finally be able to make it to the show again. I've missed you guys.
Definitely, we miss you, and we need your perspective to counterbalance, what we're basically making up as we go along. And joining me again, as she always does, from Charlotte, North Carolina, is Lexie. How are things in Charlotte?
Pretty good. How are things in Houston?
Not too bad. It's the weather's been real mild. I got my day off from work, so I went for a run earlier today. Felt really, really good. We've been lucky down here with the weather. I know it seems like every other week, and we'll talk about NASCAR weather here in a little bit, but every other week I will dial you guys in, and one week it's 20 degrees, then the next week it's 60 and 70, so that seems to be par for the course around here. So as many of you know, Kells and Lexie are part of the Ladies in Black blog. We always put the link beneath the YouTube show here, so be sure to check out their blog for the latest things they've got going on. And we'll go ahead and get started by talking about last week in Bristol. Once again, we had a weather delay, but by the time it ran on Monday, we had another back-to-back winner, and Kyle Busch won again. So we'll start with the number one Kyle Busch fan on the show, Lexie, who actually got to see it. Some of us had to work, but take us through the race and how Kyle ran and what your thoughts were on his performance.
His performance was pretty much like I expected, like how it was in Texas. It was up and down, but towards the end, he was able to get it together, and he got the classic Bristol bump and run on Kyle Larson, and he was able to take the lead from him with 6 laps to go and go to his 7th victory at Bristol. So it's very cool.
Yeah, so describe that a little bit more, because I saw some churn on Twitter later. Some people were saying, of course, anytime there's a little bit of that, there's this accusation that was a dirty move, he shouldn't have done it. Your perspective was, of course, that was just racing and it's the way it's done. So what was your thoughts on that? What happened, and then what were your thoughts on it?
Well, when it was about 6 laps to go, Kyle Busch got into Kyle Larson a little bit in the left rear quarter panel. And what happened was, when they were going into turn 3, he ended up hitting him just enough to get him loose and send him up high and into the turn, and Kyle was able to get by him. So I don't think that was a dirty move at all. It was just short track racing, and Larson was fine with it. He never had any issue with it. So people just need to stop with the whole dirty move stuff.
Of course, they're both professionals. That's what they do. They race. They push each other around. Kells, what is one of your not favorite drivers wins again? What do you think about how that went?
I obviously don't like Kyle. Like, I'm not the biggest Kyle fan, but like, I respect him as a person and a driver. So like, congrats to him for winning. I didn't see anything from the race. I started watching on Sunday when I came home from work, and then I also had to work Monday, so I did not get to see the end of it, and I haven't seen anything from it. So I honestly have no idea. But I'm sure this won't be his last win of the season.
Yeah, we'll talk about his prospects this week and the rest. And that was really frustrating to watch on Sunday, which will tie into our next topic. So you sit down on your couch, you get ready for a little bit of racing, and then they run about 40, 50 laps, and then they get a red flag. And then I run to the grocery store, I come home, they're running again for another few dozen laps, and then it's a red flag. It's been kind of crazy weather this year overall. I think somebody said that there hasn't been a race or weekend this year that hasn't had at least some delays. And we talked about, we've got snow in Martinsville and all this going on. But we'll get start with Lexie. It's been weird weather around the whole country, but is there anything NASCAR can do about this to do a better job? You had some opinions. They should just go ahead and run on Sunday in cases like this if they have lights. So what do you think about the weather situation last weekend and so far this year?
It's just been crazy. I've been watching NASCAR for about 16 years, and I'm just sitting here like, what is up with this year? It's just so weird. But I think that if the track has lights, they should at least wait it out until they have absolutely no choice but to postpone it until the next day. If the track has lights, I don't see an issue with night racing because back in 2015 they did it at Daytona during the summer race. So I mean they raced till 4 a.m. Yeah, but I mean they got it all in within that time frame. So I don't see why they have to postpone it till the next day.
Yeah, it's frustrating for fans. You know, it's got to be frustrating for drivers and the crews because they get up and then they have to stop and then they have to wait. They have to change their plans. Of course, they all got families they want to go home to. So, Kells, what is your thoughts on the weather though so far this year? And is there anything you would do differently, or is this just something that just happens and just like in baseball and other sports, and you got to move on?
Personally, I think this year has just been crazy for weather, not just with NASCAR, but in general, like where I live. I've seen all 4 seasons this week here. It was so nice last weekend. It was almost 80 last Friday, and now it's freezing cold again. So I don't think it's like an issue that like NASCAR can resolve. I personally just think it's a weather issue. The only thing I definitely thought was like kind of crazy was the whole Martinsville thing. I think it's a little too early to be having a race at that point in time. I did tweet about that, and I know you
Right.
guys talked about that. But that was the only thing I really saw. Like with everything else, it's kind of like it's just crazy weather. I don't think you could do anything about it, but I know it really does suck to have to wait the next day. Like I've missed Pocono races, like not missed them, but I've had to go back to the next day. And I mean, I've missed work or other things, and it's like it sucks having to go back to the track. Not that you don't want to go back to the track, but like you said, you rearrange your plans, and it's not just the drivers that rearrange their plans, it's the crews, it's like everybody else, and like all the fans. And then you see less fans go because they have to reschedule their plans or they can't make it because of work or whatever, and it sucks. But I mean, I don't know what else they could really do about it. Just like Pocono, it's like it's the summer, it's gonna rain or it's not gonna rain. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah, you know, short of building domed racetracks, which I think then you might have problems with exhaust fumes at some point. And the sheer size, of course, makes it impossible. But yeah, it is frustrating. It was sad to see so few fans there at Bristol, but you know, I would have trouble convincing any of my friends to go sit outside in 32-degree weather when it's raining all Sunday. You can just
Yeah.
we've all been there for bad sporting events, football games or a baseball game or a soccer game, you know, either playing or supporting a friend or in high school or whatever, and it's no fun. Moving on to the next subject. So a little bit of history took place on, I guess, Monday, not Sunday, but, you know, Bubba Wallace became the first African-American, and I think, Lexie said 55 years to lead a lap, which is unfortunate that there's not more diversity in the racing drivers, but it's certainly a stepping stone. So this time we'll let Kells get the first word. I think we all generally like Bubba Wallace, but do you think that this will help change the perception and maybe get a more diversified fan base and driver base?
Yeah, I do. I like Bubba. I do. I'm not a fan, but I do follow him and I see a lot of his posts. I saw his video after the race and he was so like genuinely disappointed that his car was having problems. That's the only thing I've actually seen from this past race weekend, but I think it's really good for the sport. Like even with Danica, even though she never did like amazing and was like incredible, like I think it was good having her in the sport.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I was a fan of Danica. I knew she would never win because she never really had the car to compete with the best teams and or the skills. I'm not going to say she was the best driver with that car. She typically run about half the race, and then something would happen, and then next thing you know, she's doing the interview. You know, oh, something went wrong again. But we're not talking about her. We're talking about Bubba. I know, Lexie, you were excited to see him run well. He is one of the more entertaining guys on social media and is a great interview. What was your reaction to seeing what happened on Monday?
I feel like it was very cool. He's a very cool guy, so it was very cool to see him win or lead some laps. He got into some conflict with Denny earlier in the season, so it was just that 1 week that I was a little angry at him. But I do like him as a person. I think he's very cool. So Kelly, I think that he's a cool dude. So, and he's a Tennessee fan. So we disagree on college football teams, but I like him as a person, so it was very cool to see him lead some laps there.
And how many laps did he lead, and what stage of the race was it at?
I want to say it was about maybe 5 or 6 laps towards the end of stage 2, I want to say. So
it'd be really good if, well, I mean, I personally want to see a lot more diversified winners. I'm slowly turning on Kyle Busch a little bit. He's a great driver, but just like when Harvick was winning early, I kind of got tired of that. Maybe you want to see somebody different win this week at Richmond. So speaking of Richmond, we have qualifying tonight. Again, we're taping the show on Friday. Again, we'll start with Kells this time. Are you able to watch any this weekend? And if so, what do you think? How do you think it's going to shake out? Who do you think are some of the favorites?
I might be able to watch on Sunday. I do have to be at work. Oh no, wait. Is it Saturday night?
It's a Saturday night race.
It is Saturday night. You can tell how out of it I am. I will be able to watch then. I will be home and able to watch, and I will be watching qualifying today. And don't forget, if you are on NASCAR Fantasy, to make a poll pick before qualifying.
Right. I almost did. I almost forgot, but I did it.
I don't really have any idea what's going to happen this weekend, but I'm, like you said, I'm hoping for a different winner. Like, it's cool to see all those guys win and everything, but you get tired of it. It's nice to see somebody, like, crazy win, like, somebody that you would never expect. Like, that's always exciting to me. Like, even if I'm not personally a fan, I think one of the best things is just seeing someone who's been, like, at it for a while and it's their first win or something, and it's like, that has to be such a great moment for them. And even if you're not a fan, it's like, it's just awesome to see that.
Yeah, definitely. We had that with Boyer a couple weeks ago, and again, of course, it's not just a driver; it's a team, and to always see that team just celebrating, because you know how much hard work they put in day after day. And that's when it gets frustrating for drivers. It was frustrating for Kyle early in the year when he's losing to Harvick every week. He's like, we keep trying, or it's right on his bumper, we just can't quite get through it. Lexie, I think you said you're going to be able to watch this weekend. So who are your favorites, both personal and who you actually think may win, which may be the same thing. But who else do you think you should watch this weekend?
Honestly, if I had to take somebody other than Kyle and Denny, it would probably be Ryan Blaney, because he's been getting up there. He's getting stronger every single week. So I think it's only a matter of time before he gets that second win of his career. Of course, Kyle and Denny, I have to go with them because they both have been successful there. Because that's Denny's home track, and Kyle's won there about 4 times. So hopefully it'll be somebody good, somebody deserving that ends up there. So it'll be an interesting race.
So not Kyle.
So okay, I'll put you on the spot, Kells. Kyle and Denny are going right down to the end. And one of them's got to win. Who do you want to win?
I'm gonna have to actually pick Kyle because after Denny's whole thing with Chase, I'm not the biggest Denny fan.
Let it go.
So now it's on you, Lexie. We've got Jimmy Johnson going down against Chase down to the end. Who would you want to win that race?
Kyle passing him in turn 4 on the last lap.
If she really had to choose, we all know it would be Chase because she cannot stand Jimmy Johnson.
I hate them both the same. But I do agree, though. It would probably be Chase. Yeah, it would probably be Chase.
She would have probably set her Twitter settings to private and logged off long before that happened.
That 1 week, I'll root for Chase. If he's battling Jimmy Johnson, that 1 week, I will root for him.
See, Kelly, you had it right. It was Chase after all.
I knew it.
And
she must be too well.
So Richmond it's another short track race, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so far, I think both of those have been postponed to Monday. From what I saw, the weather looks really good this weekend, at least precipitation-wise, maybe a little cooler, but as we've said, but I think I'm at least in the 50s, if not the 60s.
I'm hoping we're going to have good weather because it's supposed to be nice here. So usually, on the same coast, I don't see anything crazy happening. It's supposed to be dry here all weekend, so hopefully it can be the same there.
I think so. I think we've had that. I mean, it wasn't just like one area of the country. It just was like these wet weather patterns, in the Midwest and the Southeast and the East Coast. Here in Texas, it's been crazy. So hopefully have a good, clean week of racing. Like I said, hopefully we have may the best driver and team win. So we'll go around and give any final thoughts or shout outs. We'll start with Kells.
Thanks for having me on the show again, and I hope that we do it next week. I can make it again because I really enjoy this.
Well, definitely. It's great to have you back. Sorry we missed you a couple weeks there, but definitely more lively discussion when I get both of you in the same room. What were you saying?
I said it's so hard with work. It's like I never know what time I'm going to get home. But today I got home just in time to make it on the show, and I'm very grateful.
Much rather hang out with us than work. I'll take that.
Oh, yes.
Any final thoughts on the race or anything else, Lexie?
I hope everybody enjoys the race, and just let me know if you guys want me and Kelly to write more posts or just give us suggestions.
Yeah, or any suggestions. Because
yeah.
I want you to write more.
Mind.
Well, thanks for both of you for being here. Be sure to check them out. Their Twitter handle is also in our biography on this, or in the comment section, I guess, of the YouTube thing, and it's at Ladies in Black 88. Is the 88 for Dale Jr.? Whoever made that?
It is.
It was at a point. We were both. That was the only driver we ever agreed on that we both liked. So we had to pick a number.
Right. That's fair.
It's not really accurate anymore, but.
Right.
Hey, we both like Alex Bowman, so.
Oh, okay, well,
it kind of works.
Well, thanks both of you for being here. And if you like the show, like I said, give us comments. Comment on their individual Twitters or the Ladies in Black. That way, they give us some stuff to write about, what you want to hear about. And until then, we'll see you next time on NASCAR Chat.